And the reason was very simple. We realized one crucial aspect was that technology like AI is exponential in its nature. It grows exponentially. Given enough time, it can exponentially grow faster. It can become high quality, become at a point where it is going to be like humans, for example.
Hey folks, welcome to First Cheque Portfolio Shots. My name is Tejas, and this is a series where we speak to founders of our portfolio companies so that you get to know their team, understand what they're building, and the problem they're trying to solve. If you like the content that we've been putting out, do like, share, and subscribe so that we can reach more founders and startup enthusiasts like you. Today's very special guest is Ishaan Sharma, co founder and CEO of Deepsync Technologies. Imagine creating audio content that sounds like you without speaking a word. Deepsync lets you create audio and grow your listener base with the power of AI. It handles complete production so you spend less time recording and more time engaging. I had a really interesting conversation with Ishan, and it was really great to learn about their culture and their plans for the future. Stick around till the end of the episode to learn more.
Hi Ishan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Tejas, how about you?
I'm great too. So welcome to First Cheque Portfolio Shots, and it's really amazing to have you here. I'm looking forward to talking to you. So let's get started. My first question to you is, what problem are you solving as a startup founder? What problem is Deepsync solving? Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So in a nutshell, we're trying to solve the decade-old production processes that today take place. We live in a world right now where the content has exploded. DeepSync focuses on audio content, so podcasts, audiobooks, etc., which have seen a meteoric rise in the last few years. Given that there are more people listening to podcasts right now, it has exploded in India, for example, as well, right? But the way we produce content really hasn't changed. It's still rooted in decade-old media processes. You have a host, for example, who goes through a process of recording the content, recording tens of hours of audio, taking retakes, for example, in a proper studio, and it has become difficult because of the remote situation also, right? Then you have a team of editors who edit the audio, for example, remove the background noise. If there's a fan revolving, remove that part as well. And then there's a team of post producers who work on ensuring the video is end-to-end, audio is end-to-end published ready. There's intro, outer music, there's background music, etc. When we spoke with creators, we found that it usually takes about 6 to 7 hours of audio process to actually record 1 hour of audio. So 1 hour of audio will take 6-7 hours of effort, which is usually spread across a week of time or 2 weeks, for example, right? And this is not scalable in a host voice, given that there's so much content being produced and so has to be produced for users worldwide. And as a creator, I can only record in one language. I'm limited by my own language, right? So I cannot reach to my fans in other languages, or I cannot localize my content for other geographies, for example. And the whole this process is extremely big when you're talking about a big company like BBC, for example. The logistics of operations, of managing voices, managing content is extremely big, and DeepSync is solving for that. We're changing it which we'll talk about, a solution called voice cloning, and we're building it for enterprises. Yeah.
That's amazing, Ishan. So can you tell us about the solution you are building at Deepsync?
Sure. So our technology is something called generative AI, which basically means we take a person's voice sample and we try to replicate it using AI. We basically take millions and millions of pointers of person's voice, and we are able to build a template out of it. Given a template, we can give it any new content, any new script, any new text script, and it will produce that same script in a high quality fashion, just like the person would do in real world. There'll be exact amount of pauses, the emotion will be spot on, the intonation will be spot on, and the accent will be spot on, for example, right? And once we can do that, the voice becomes a software asset. It can scale like a software, like bits, for example, right? And that allows people to produce more content without going through the processes of production. The output quality is high quality. It's at 44 kilohertz, which is at par with Audible, for example. There's no background noise or music because it comes out pristine, for example, right? And there's no need to edit it afterwards because the quality itself sounds good. And you can go to distribution directly after that. So the whole process of producing, going into a studio, having equipment largely goes away with it.
That is really, really great. So can you tell us about the progress you have had Deepsync has had till now?
Sure. So we actually raised a seed round just over a year ago. Again, and at that time, our technology was very early, but in the last 1 year, we have made tremendous progress in our technology. It's at a point where it can actually now express itself. Our product is enterprise facing, which means companies can bring all their host voices as virtual assets and use them to centralize in one place and produce content in a centralized manner. It's also localized, so we can also produce voices in multiple languages today, Indian languages, Western languages, etc. At the point we are currently in private beta, we're working with some big names, big publishers, big content houses, big media companies, for example, to bring our technology out in the public. And this is basically our go-to market. For example, we're partnering with these companies to bring our technology and commercialize it at a massive scale.
That's amazing. So, Ishan, can you tell us how you met your co-founders and how did you start building your initial team here? And what is your company culture like?
Sure. So I met my co-founder Rishikesh, who is our CTO as well, in early 2018. And the funny thing was we met on GitHub, right? Which is, again, as every developer knows, is an awesome site. I was working on a small library for voice cloning at that time, and Rishikesh was working something on a much bigger scale at the time. Again, he has more expertise in that, right? But we met, we connected on GitHub, and within a few months we were co-founders. We left our jobs to start this full time, and the reason was very simple. We realized one crucial aspect was that technology like AI is exponential in its nature. It grows exponentially. Given enough time, it can exponentially grow faster. It can become high quality, become at a point where it is going to be like humans, for example. When we started, there was no name for our technology. There was no generative AI. There was no deep fakes or voice cloning. We pioneered it. And now it is something which is getting into mainstream consciousness. People are now realizing something like this exists, for example, right? And our team culture is also situated around this particular element of innovation. Everything we do has innovative aspect of it. Doesn't really matter if we are going for promotional material, marketing material, for example, or we are going for sales, go to market. Everything is around 10x. How can we innovate something out of it? How can we think out of the box and bring our brand and our culture to it? So that's the way we think of it. And we hire people according to that mindset. Everyone in our team has an knack for innovation, and they think in that direction as well. Yeah.
That is amazing, Ishan. So my last question for you today is that every startup founder has this real moment where they stand and feel that, yes, I have done something cool. I'm building something cool. And I'm sure you've had that moment. So can you tell us about that particular moment?
Sure. So I had two moments of that degree, right? Number one was when, we presented technology to some of our customers, and when they heard their own voice, they were just excited. They couldn't believe that there was its own AI voice. It was so good. They showed it to their family members, to their kids, for example, and they couldn't tell a difference. That was a aha moment for us because we realized that the technology has crossed that uncanny valley. It is now in a domain of high quality, pristine nature, right? The second was actually this month itself when we launched our expressions in production quality. So we can now the AI is able to produce happiness, become angry, for example, even in future can become jealous, envy, and show all these human emotions of this human spectrum that is not possible by any other technology. So these two things make me believe that we are doing something totally cool, and this has a potential to change the, again, decade-old processes of production. Yeah.
Simply amazing, Ishan. Simply amazing. You've gotten emotions into a machine. That's pretty amazing. Awesome. So those are all my questions, and it was really nice talking to you, Ishan. And yeah, all the best for Deepsync, and I hope the beta goes pretty well. And I'm looking forward to having it in the public as well.
Thank you so much.